Hello, Guac is back. We are back for episode 1. We are playing F125. It's part 1, technically part 2. I feel like I'm going to have that outro a couple of times, but you understand what I mean. We're in Australia. We have to do the mandatory practice 1 because game fun. Which, yeah, fun. Australia isn't really my best track, so it's going to be fun. First of all, we have to test goddamn mark. For goodness sake, we don't really care about the fact that there's new ERS modes and whatever the hell you're talking about because you're too quiet. Doing track acclimatization because, like I said, not very good at Australia. It isn't one of my best tracks. And I feel like you're going to see that a lot. As we come around the final corner, being a little bit squirrelish on the throttle, we're not really most confident in that corner. That is going to be mentioned a lot in this episode. Cheers Mark, didn't know how to do DRS. That was a pretty decent lap. That was my second lap of the practice session. But this lap here is pretty special. Almost pretty special. I mean, for the most part, I just see purples. I don't know about you, but I'm seeing purples, buddy. Coming around turn 5. Trying to get up close to that barrier, maybe give it a little kiss. On the back straight into the really fast chicane. Tries to cut corner a little bit, keeps in track limits. And around the final 2 corners, still purple absolutely everywhere. Except for the last corner. I hate that final corner. I can't do it for some reason. But anyway, yeah, that was that. We then decided to do race strategy as well, which is fun. The Aston Martin of, I want to say, Stroll ahead of me, but I'm not 100% sure. And there's a McLaren behind me of, I believe, Lando Norris, which one I'm going slow. You know, quickest car in this game, so I don't really want to hold him up or have him ruin my lap. So I let him past. Currently P2 in the standings as well, which is pretty poggers. I have not said that word in ages. We go into hot lap ERS mode, and we go flying down the straight. We're just seeing what we can do, really. We end lap 1 with, to be fair, stuck with Lando for the most part. And look at how much time we lost on that final corner. On lap 2 I tried to test out track limits a little bit more. I discovered grass. Twice, which is fun. And this is the final lap of what is the whole of practice. I decided to just go into qualifying first. P3, pretty decent. Teammate isn't in the top 14, I'm pretty sure he's 16th. After a massive loading screens, we get to do our qualifying lap. Let's see where we can place the car. Coming down towards turn 1, we have a little bit of traffic on the inside of Gabriel Waterletto and Esteban Ocon. Managed to clear them both before turn 3, which is very nice. And hopefully we just keep the rest of the lap on the track. Around turn 6, Gabriel Waterletto actually stuck with me quite well, considering the fact it's on the out lap. Around the fast chicane, finally got a bit of a gap to any cars around me. Some proper clean air, don't need to worry about anything in particular. Shouldn't be any more mistakes. Except for the grass, which is fun. So we've lost our first lap, tyres probably burnt out, but we decide, let's go again. We're on the same tyres, we haven't pitted or anything, we're still on the same fuel and ERS and everything. we decided to go back out and see, you know, what are the what ifs. Currently we are down on the lap from before, find some time in turn 3 and 4, lose a little bit on the exit, round turn 5, gain a little bit back, not a lot though. Dip a wheel into the grass has come round, quite a nice corner to go round, onto the massive back straight, through the flash again, gaining a little bit more time, try and keep it directly on the yellow line, not white line, into a fun corner. Finally don't dip a wheel in the grass, actually get a really nice apex on it as well, and across the line it is P16, and we're only about 10th and a half off of our teammate. Onto the final lap of qualifying, get to the line with just 18 seconds remaining, and already we are seeing green. We are seeing a lot of green. We have lost most of that green. Let's go. Coming round onto the back straight, DRS activated now, and down towards turn, I don't know and I don't know, I want to say 9 and 10. Actually pick up a purple sector, ignore that. We really like doing standard corner cutting instead of strict. That is how you will see the rest of the season. Up 5 temps, going into the final chicane. Once again, final corner, it is fun. Actually gain a little bit of time, so it was better than what it was on the third lap, sorry. And at the end of that, it is P13, so actually pretty decent.
We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
Teammate P18, not really the best from the American, but what can you argue? We're both rookies, and Jesus Christ, it's raining. It is raining. I hate the rain. Fun fact, I haven't done a race yet. I don't know the handling of the car, and I don't have any setups on. The grid, however, is pretty spicy. Because Lewis Hamilton's on pole, that was taking a lot longer than I thought. Lando Norris barely behind him. Come on, Crofty, hurry up. Piastri's third, George Russell's fourth, Carlos Sainz in the Williams is fifth ahead of Yuki Tsunoda, Antonelli seventh ahead of Gasly, Behrman and then Stroll, Gabriel Bortoleto and then Verschoor. I nearly said Verstappen, just seen the VAR. Leclerc ahead of Ocon, Verstappen took a time grid penalty ahead of Doohan, Hadjar again ahead of Crawford, Alonso then Lawson, and on the back row Hulkenberg and Alexander Albon. Not really the greatest looking grid for the first race of the season, you know. Max and Charles and Alonso. However, Sainz, Antonelli and Behrman are probably pretty happy, especially Behrman being the rookie. And Stroll actually did pretty well against his teammates, so it's quite realistic to the actual season. And there is me. That is Richard Verschoor right there. Possible strategies is either wet to wet or wet to wet to wet. So, you know, very, very spicy in the strategies. Hannah Schmidt right now is so turned on by this. I'm sorry, Hannah, I shouldn't say that about you. You're a lovely woman. And the cars are lined up onto the grid. Australia is underwater, but it is ready to host F1. The 2025 season is underway in just a quick little 5 red lights. And the cars are racing in Australia. We get a decent start. We're pretty equal with Stroll and Bortoleto in at least the first phase. We're on the inside line. Stroll packs in just ahead of Bortoleto, allowing us to get just ahead of him. Gasly and Behrman a little bit sluggish. We get a little bit squirrelish on the throttle, and Stroll finds his way back ahead of us. And then Bortoleto behind us, with Verstappen just losing the place there to Esteban Ocon for P13. And we get a massive little slide on in the braking zone, nearly get past Stroll, nearly hitting Stroll though in the process. And on the exit of turn 4, we are so scared to get on the throttle. But have you ever heard of anyone losing 5 whole seconds in 2 laps? Because we are 5.5 seconds down to Lance Stroll after 2 laps. We are so good at this game, I promise. Once again having a little bit of a snap at turn 1, digging a wheel into the grass. I have a joke for you. So, what happens when you put a moron into a car with no setup on a track he's not good at in the wet?
Find that front wing is going to need replacing if it takes too much damage. Okay, and that's a red flag. Red flag. Keep the delta positive and let's have you straight to the pit lane, please.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I was hoping to get a quick rewind done after doing my original spin. And then I hit Bortoletto when the red flag came out, and you can't rewind as soon as red flag comes out. So, anyway, we are on the restart. We are P17 now. We lost a couple of places. Jack Crawford has gained a couple of places, and now Charles Leclerc and Verstappen just ahead of him. As the cars are going again down in turn 1, we put a little bit of a tap into our teammate, maybe help him get ahead of Hadjar. Yes, we do. Meanwhile, we are very sluggish out of turn 2. And Hulkenberg's now looking at a run round the outside of us, down in towards turn 3. We brake a little bit later than them. And intermediates being recommended by Mark. Why didn't we just restart the red flag on inters? Surely that was the question in someone's head. I think it was the question in my head. But I decided to stick on to the wets, just because there was no recommendation to go to the inters. But we probably would have got really easy points if we did it. And as we come into the pits, absolute mayhem breaks loose. I'm pretty sure all 20 cars pitted. There might have been 1 or 2 that didn't. We hold up the Saubers. My teammate holds up me. There's a McLaren at the very back of the pack that I can still see in his pit box. There we go. He's finally been released. Jumps ahead of a couple of the drivers, including me. Lando Norris is in P19 of the Australian Grand Prix after just 9 laps. Then Lance Stroll. By lap 10 he already gets ahead of Lance Stroll and he's right behind me. Once again we are really terrible out this final corner. It's unbelievable. Mainly because it's wet. I feel like I'd stand a little bit more of a chance in weather I'm confident in. Coming down towards turn 1, can we defend from Lando Norris? But a very nice line through. No we don't. And Lando Norris is through. And we've already lost nearly a second to him. And now it's 4.5. For some reason we're driving in the grass because we're an idiot. Lance Stroll slips through because of it. And we've lost another place down in towards P19. And I'm sure we're now going to be battling a Haas and an Alpine for last place. Because remember, P21 is last place. Because a Sauber died of natural causes. Down towards turn, what I think is turn 12. Try and have a little bit of a run on Stroll. Couldn't really get there. So we have to sit back and patient for a while. That patient was actually 3 laps. See if we can get another run on Stroll. We're a lot closer this time. The weather was a little bit drier. We're on the outside. We switched to the inside. And we're ahead of the Aston Martin of Lance Stroll. Another beautiful line through there. Just getting the elbows out a little bit. Just squeeze him out. And get ahead of him. Confirming the place. Get a little bit of a slide on a couple laps later. Lance Stroll's maybe looking at a place again. There is yellow flags ahead. What are the yellow flags for? It's because the AI is disabled. Behrman was trying to retire, held up Lawson, held up Stroll, held up me, held up his teammate Ocon. And now we're all packed together and Lawson was the worst of it. I'm getting held up. And I'm now right behind him, maybe getting a move in towards turn 12 again. Being queued up, we move to the right hand side, burning our battery. Back into the slipstream, move to the right hand side again, and in the braking zone we get alongside just enough to get ahead of him. And up into P16. Now this is just the running away phase. DRS isn't available, so that's fun. And Lewis Hamilton is out of the race, and it's a virtual safety car as we bang the wall a little bit as well. This might help neutralise it just enough to get an advantage out of it. Of course, our fuel is pretty safe, so we don't need to do anything on that. Because of how bad our final corner was, we actually managed to get a little bit of a jump. You know, I'm so slow through that corner, even me going normally was VSC speed. So we managed to jump Lawson and Stroll by a couple of attempts, just enough to not be worried about them. 5 laps later though, Lawson was straight back on us, especially because our rears were absolutely melted at this point. We're going wheel to wheel into the fast left-right of turn 9 and 10. Ride the curb, get into the grass a little bit, just like how we did in practice. Maybe looking at losing the place, so we defend it quite well from Lawson, to be fair. And we get really heavily up onto the curbs on both mid and exit, and onto the penultimate lap and final lap we notice there are people pitting. And if you look in the top left, my teammate, who we haven't seen all race as we have a little bit of a slide out the final corner, our teammate scored points on not only his debut but the team's debut, and we're barely off of it. P9 for Jack Crawford, P11 for Richard Verschoor. Lando Norris only got a point. You'll never guess the podium either, because Yuki Tsunoda won on his Red Bull debut. Alright, 2016 Spanish Max. Alright, yeah. An Australian finally gets on the podium. Oscar Piastri's P3. George Russell splitting up the two of them, because he loves Red Bulls, that George guy. Kimi Antonelli got 4th, Fernando 5th, Max 6th, Charles 7th, Carlos Sainz 8th, my teammate 9th, Lando 10th and us 11th. Alexander Albon ended up getting the fastest lap in 14th. I'm pretty sure he might have been one of the pitters. Managed to get a good final lap. In the championship, it's just the driver order, whereas in the constructors, it's Red Bull ahead of Mercedes, then McLaren. But we have 2 points on the board, and we're trying to look at maybe, just maybe, making some upgrades. Of course, I'm still not fully understanding this upgrade thing. Decided on buying some tyre blankets because you saw our tyres at the end of that Grand Prix. Hopefully it will help us coming into China. China is another track I'm not really good at. Honestly, I know they're not even recorded yet, but if you want to wait for a track I'm good at, I'll wait till Imola. And then wait again till like Silverstone or something. I'm not good at half the tracks. Second half of the season we're a bit better at. For the activities, we couldn't really set up anything because we didn't have enough time. We managed to get something in for the marketing team though. We also decided to buy some engineering upgrades just because it will increase the time it takes to develop. And then we decided to advance to China. Tyre allocation, because it's a sprint race, we went to, I believe, balanced, because it gave us a medium in the race and it also got us to test out the softs in practice, like we're actually going to be doing practice. And we go to China, and this time we're driving a Jack Crawford, so each race we're going to be joining in between them. But that is enough from me. Thank you everyone for watching. Can't wait till China, where it's probably going to be raining again, and goodbye.